This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for the News at Noon. I'm Maddie Jansen, and today for Alana Rusk, she's feeling a little bit under the weather. We begin with national news today. The latest U.S. GDP report is out, and it shows the economy expanded during the final quarter of 2023, but at a slower pace, perpetuating fears of a looming recession. The report says the economy expanded at a 2.9% annual pace from October through December. Thursday's estimate from the Commerce Department showed that the nation's gross domestic product, the broadest gauge of economic output, decelerated last quarter from the 3.2% annual growth rate it had posted from July through September. Most economists think the economy will slow further in the current quarter and slide into at least a mild recession by mid-year. 17 News is your local election headquarters. Los Angeles Congressman Adam Schiff announced he's running for Senate in 2024, joining what's expected to be a crowded Democratic primary race for the seat held by Senator Dianne Feinstein. Feinstein, who is 89 years old, has not announced her plans, but already 3 prominent California Democrats have their sights set on replacing her: Schiff and Reps Katie Porter and Barbara Lee. Feinstein's expected to retire after her current term, but has remained tight-lipped on her plans and has said she would not leave early. Education news now, and a local school board is still without gas as PG&E works to repair a leak. In a letter shared with parents of Noble Elementary students, the Bakersfield City School District said they were notified about 4:30 Monday afternoon of the gas leak in a utility box buried underground. The school remains open, and officials say there's no threat to students or staff. Parents are strongly encouraged to make sure their students are dressed appropriately for the lack of heat in some classrooms. The Bakersfield Police Department's investigating a deadly crash involving a train. It happened around 6:30 last night in the 3200 block of H Street. A witness tells 17 News it appears the victim walked onto the tracks just as the train was approaching. That person was killed. Crime Watch now, and a pair of teens driving a stolen car crashed into another vehicle in front of Harding Elementary School yesterday. Officers say the boys, who appeared to be between 13 and 16 years old, ran off after the crash. CHP says the car was reported stolen earlier in the day, but it is not known if the boys stole the vehicle or if they were just driving it at the time of the crash. No one was hurt. From our 17 News follow-up file now, a second person has filed a claim against Kern County in connection with an explosion that killed a man at a Bakersfield apartment complex. The June 30th blast happened at Park 20th Apartments and 20th and V Streets, a complex for homeless veterans and low-income households. A Ventura-based attorney filed a claim Monday on behalf of resident Patricia Allen. It alleges she suffered dizziness, nausea, headaches, chest pain, damage to bodily organs, and emotional distress following the blast. The claim names the Housing Authority of Kern County of Kern as defendant. It alleges the property manager ignored warnings of a gas leak. Zachary Williams, another resident, filed a claim in July, but no lawsuit is listed yet. The blast sent the 66-year-old Cleveland Lee Amos to Bakersfield Memorial Hospital, where he later died. Meantime, we continue to track the fentanyl crisis here in Kern County and beyond. Last year, there were 219 local deaths associated with the illicit opioid, according to the Kern County Coroner's Office. That number slightly lower than in 2021. That year, 232 Kern residents died from the effects of fentanyl. However, the coroner says last year's death toll could still go up because there are cases where the toxicology results haven't come in yet. Nationwide, according to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 110,000 Americans died from drug overdoses in 2022, and the vast majority were from fentanyl. Most of the victims were under the age of 40. A local man's behind bars after probation officers seized more than 5,500 fentanyl pills from a central Bakersfield home. Police arrested 22-year-old Leo Espinoza on Forest Street yesterday on suspicion of drug possession for sales. The estimated street value of the pills, $55,000, according to the Kern County Probation Department. Espinoza is being held on $48,000 bail and is due in court later today. Teachers at the Bakersfield City School District are asking for better pay. Some threatening to leave the district to get it. At Tuesday's packed board meeting, teachers called on the district to reappropriate their budget before teachers abandon their positions. BCSD officials tell 17 News that the district is currently in contract negotiations. The teachers union says their main concerns are creating safe working environments, fair wages, and addressing teacher workload issues. They're not the only ones asking for better pay. A show of solidarity at yesterday's Bakersfield City Council meeting as city workers continue to push for a new contract with better benefits. Workers gathered on the steps of City Hall before the meeting, holding a signed petition that they plan to present to the council. They say they've been without a contract since July, and they are losing employees to better paying jobs. We reached out to the city of Bakersfield for comment, but a spokesperson would only confirm negotiations are ongoing. Workers say they plan to go back to the bargaining table February 2nd.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
Those Amazon Smile donations you've been making to your favorite charity will soon get cut off. Since 2013, more than 1 million charities received donations from Amazon Smile, which sent a small portion of a customer's purchase on Amazon to a nonprofit of their choice. Amazon announced last week that the program will end on February 20th. Nonprofits are now looking for ways to replace that funding, and some of Amazon's competitors, including Walmart and Target, have community donation programs that are somewhat similar to Amazon Smile. Patrick Malone, an Amazon spokesperson, said the company's decision to end the program is a strategic shift to support initiatives that work on a larger scale, like its $2 billion contribution to build affordable housing. Boeing representatives and relatives of some of the passengers killed in 2 crashes of the Boeing 737 MAX jets will meet face-to-face in a Texas courtroom today, where the aerospace giant will be arraigned on a criminal charge that it thought it had settled 2 years ago. The family members were never consulted before Boeing cut a deal with the U.S. Justice Department to avoid prosecution on a felony charge of fraud. Up to a dozen or so people from several countries are expected to testify about how the loss of a loved one has affected them. A lawyer representing the family says he hopes the testimony will convince the Justice Department to throw out the settlement. All right, tech news now. Another tech company announcing a round of layoffs. IBM says it is cutting thousands of jobs. The company announced the cuts yesterday, saying the layoffs are a part of some asset investments and posted flat fourth quarter revenue due to lackluster demand for its consulting services. At least 3,900 employees will be affected. The layoffs related to the spinoff of its Kyndryl business and part of A1 unit Watson Health will cause a $300 million charge in the January-March period. IBM's 2022 cash flow was just over $9 billion, below its target of $10 million due to higher than expected working capital needs. Facebook parent company Meta says it will restore former President Donald Trump's personal account, ending a 2-year suspension it imposed in the wake of the January 6th insurrection. The company said in a blog post Wednesday that it's adding new quadrillates to ensure that there are no repeat offenders who violate its rules. Other social media companies also kicked him off their platforms, though he was recently reinstated on Twitter after Elon Musk took over the company. Responding to the news, Trump blasted Facebook's original decision to suspend his account and praised Truth Social, the site he created after being blocked from Twitter. And we're learning state lawmakers are proposing a new tax for some of the wealthiest Californians. The new plan would tax an extra 1.5% on people with a net worth of $1 billion. The bill calls for a 1% tax for those making $50 million or more. It's estimated the projected revenue from the new wealth tax would generate more than $21 billion annually for the state budget. The proposed legislation would require a 2/3 majority from the state legislature. Voters would ultimately decide on the plan in the 2024 election. Making news around the world now, President Biden is considering a visit to Europe next month around the 1-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That's according to 3 administration officials and a person familiar with the discussions. Multiple locations are under consideration, including Poland. The discussions come as the White House is exploring ways for Biden to mark the 1-year milestone. The Biden administration officials have also discussed announcing another major military aid package for Ukraine to coincide with the anniversary of Russia's invasion. According to U.S. officials. Among the ideas being considered as part of a potential trip is for Biden to deliver a speech capturing the critical point in the war, outlining the need to remain united going forward.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.